Hello everyone, here I am with today's The Hindu editorial of 8th September 2021. Before we move further on to read the editorial, let us have a quick glance over the vocabulary words that we're going to come across in this session. So, the first one is competent. It means having the necessary ability, knowledge, or skill to do something successfully. So, that means that you have the potential, the capability, and the required skills to meet the expectations and also achieve the final goal which you aspire for. Next is Peter, that means decrease or fade gradually before coming to an end. Next is tweaked, it means improve by making fine adjustment to it. So that means you make fine small improvements or small changes in it. So that's called tweaked. Next is coaxed, that means gently and persistently persuade someone to do something. So you tell someone gently and persuade, trying to convince them to do something, is called coaxed. Next, today's editorial is called as Nipah's amidst a pandemic. That means it is talking about the current Nipah virus that has been identified in Kerala, and we have witnessed a death as well of a 12-year-old child. So let us read the article. Quick development of vaccine for tropical infections is a success of the coronavirus era. So here, tropical infections means that infections which are endemic. In one of the sessions earlier, I have already told you what endemic means. It means something that's not widespread evenly everywhere. It's localized in some specific areas. So if we are able to make vaccines for such diseases which are specified to specific areas, then that's a success in present times. India is far from being anywhere near the finish line with regard to the coronavirus pandemic, even as fears of Nipah virus outbreak have surfaced in Kerala, with one confirmed death in Kozhikode. So here it's saying that although there have been two vaccines that have been developed in India for this COVID-19, but still we are nowhere at the end of it. The pandemic is still going on and people are still getting infected and are dying. And in the middle of this pandemic, we have seen death from another virus that is called Nipah virus, and this death has been witnessed in Kerala, in Kozhikode. While confirmed cases of the viral infection have been reported several times since 2001 in West Bengal and Kerala, it was the outbreak in 2018, the Kozhikode, that made headlines after 17 deaths and 18 confirmed cases, underlining the high infection associated fatality. So here it's saying that we have seen cases of this virus since 2001, but it came into headlines in 2018 when we had witnessed 17 deaths due to this virus, and 17 deaths and 18 confirmed cases, and we had witnessed this in 2018, and once again it has arisen this year. Outbreaks fanned by exotic viruses are not foreign to India. A glance at every weekly reports compiled by the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program shows the diversity of viral or bacterial outbreaks that flash by with barely a mention, unless they threaten India's metro policies as outbreaks of dengue, HINI, chikungunya, or malaria. So sometimes do. So here it's saying that there are many diseases that India goes through, exotic diseases, and it is not new to India. We have faced many diseases in the past as well. So here it's saying that if you look at the data that is released by the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program, it shows that there are so many viral and bacterial diseases that happen and they go unnoticed, and that does not come into headlines until they affect on a huge scale the metropolises. That means the metropolitan cities, that is the large and busy cities, until they affect them in large number. They are not in headlines. So here it's saying, however, the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic also draws attention to significant outbreaks that preceded it. So here it's saying that before this Nipah virus in 2018, in 2005, no 2002, and during that time, there had also been a pandemic when we had when the SARS-CoV-2 virus had drawn everyone's attention towards it, and it was also very widespread during the time and had caused many deaths. Nipah in Kozhikode and Malappuram was the first outbreak where terms such as contact tracing, RT-PCR antigen test, and PPE test became part of the ordinary discourse in Kerala. So here it's saying that after the COVID-19 outbreak, we Indians, or the North Indians and other parts of the India, have got to know and have started using terms such as antigen test and are more familiar with these tests. But in Kerala, they were already familiar with these phrases and use them in daily basis, because they had already faced this Nipah virus in 2018 and before that as well. So they were familiar with this. The state's public health system, earlier commended only for quality primary health care, earned appreciation for its ability to establish link between the infected and their contacts and to isolate them to prevent further spread. So it's saying that, as we know, that Kerala is one of the states that has very high literacy rate and as well as very good health facilities. So they focus on quality of primary health care, that is to identify and to eradicate the disease when it has just when we have just seen the first symptoms or when it has just started to spread. And so they follow such things such as maintaining distance and quarantine people whom they suspect to have had that virus or that disease. So we need to appreciate them for this ability. And yeah. So next is, there are now established protocols at the national level for the three key aspects of potential pandemic: infection control, treatment, and vaccination. So with the outbreak of COVID-19 in the whole nation, there have been three key aspects of controlling a pandemic or controlling any disease that has just started or arisen. So first is to control the infection, that is to make sure that no more number of people are getting infected with the same disease. The next is, the people who have already got infected, they need to be treated, and also at the same time the others who haven't caught that virus, they need to be vaccinated in order to be prevented from catching that disease in the future. When a contagion hits, the world now understands what can and cannot be controlled within each geographic region's context. So here, after the COVID-19 break, the whole of the world is familiar with how a pandemic looks and what happens. So we all are aware that how important it is to control a pandemic when it has just arisen in that specific geographical area, and how it can be in different geographical areas. It is these lessons from the coronavirus pandemic that must inform future outbreaks. It had become routine for Uttar Pradesh and Bihar at intervals to report outbreak of mystery fevers when they were often easily diagnosable infections that were just a competent, accessible laboratory test away. So here it's saying that the COVID-19 virus has caused a lot of loss to us, but at the same time, it has improved the health facilities and taught a lot to us. And if you look in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, where the health facilities are very poor, there you can see there are many mystery viewers. That means a lot of deaths happening due to some sort or the other fever, and it just goes unnoticed because we don't pay close attention and try to find out a diagnosis and do diagnosis to find out what was the core or what was the disease which caused it. Thus, while there is no knowing if the latest Nipah outbreak in India will peter out like in 2019 or be worse than in 2018. So it is peter out is basically decrease or fade away gradually before an end comes. So it's saying that in 2018 there were 17 deaths. In 2019 also we saw, but it wasn't that much and it just went away. So we have to we are just assuming what will it be like. Will it be like the 2018 where we saw deaths happening, or 2019 where we do not see any death, or will it be worse than that? India must be heartened that the potential of an outbreak evokes national concern and an anticipatory response, unlike the earlier and purely reactive approach. So here it's saying that now that we all are aware what a pandemic can do and how much loss it can bring to us emotionally and materialistically as well. So now that only we have seen one death due to this Nipah virus, there's already this news spread within the country, and all of the people are knowing about it, and this will make sure that they take precautions in advance, and this disease can be prevented from spreading and causing that much loss. So that's an advantage for India. A standardized treatment for Nipah continues to be elusive, and a spike in cases could spell disaster given in the high mortality rate. So already we are seeing that so many deaths are happening, and if this Nipah virus continues to grow, and then it's going to be a disaster because there'll be death from the Nipah virus as well as the coronavirus. So that's going to result in a lot of deaths, and the mortality rate will go like extremely high. We'll see a steep spike in it. However, some studies suggest that vaccines developed for coronavirus, if adequately tweaked, may prove effective against the Nipah virus too. So it's saying that some studies have suggested that the coronavirus vaccine, that is the Covishield, and the other one that is Covivax, I think, yeah. So if we make little adjustment or little improvement in them, then they can be used for the Nipah virus as well. Another potential candidate vaccine is an early human trial, and there are other vaccines that are in trial currently. Because vaccination continues to be the best bet against the disease, the very fact that global attention and capital no longer needs to be coaxed to be developing vaccine for tropical infection is itself a key difference in how the world approaches outbreaks in the coronavirus era. So now that we have witnessed all the laws that coronavirus does, and we are aware of what precautions we need to take and how to approach this disease, now if we see any tropical, that is endemic disease, then our main motive will be to just eradicate it at its beginning or at the core itself, and we'll try to make vaccine at the first place, because that's the best way you can tackle a disease. Yeah. So that was it. And here it's saying that for this we no longer need to persuade other countries to do this, because everyone is aware of what a disease can cause if it is not eradicated at the beginning itself. So this is going to be as a reflex action by any country if we see any endemic disease or anything that's arising. So now let us have a quick glance over what is this Nipah virus. So Nipah virus is also known as zoonotic virus. Nipah virus or NIV is transmitted from animals, especially bats or pigs, to humans, or from an infected person to another. This virus can cause severe disease in pigs and other animals too. So, as we had heard, like rumors or things in the like floating in the air, that the coronavirus had been originated by the bats. Here, Nipah virus is also originated and is spreading from bats, and this time, pig is also added in this list. The World Health Organization (WHO) says the Petropus bat species, fruit bat, are the natural host of the virus. Humans are most likely to get the infection if they consume fruits such as dates, guavas, mangoes, and lychees that are contaminated with the urine or saliva of these bats. WHO also believes that the infection can transmit to human if they come in contact with secretion of an infected animal. So here it's saying that not all bats spread this disease, but there is a specific species that is called in common terms fruit bats, and in scientific terms it's called as Petropus bats. So they are the host of these of this virus, and they consume fruits, and the ones they consume, the fruits that they consume, they are going to act as a mediator between us and the bats, and will spread the disease. So this is going to spread through fruits such as dates, guavas, mangoes, and lychees. And also, if you get in contact with their excretions, like it can be salivary or excretory. Currently, a team from National Center for Disease Control has identified 188 people who had come in contact with the teenager in Kozhikode before he died. While 20 of them have been marked in the high risk category, both healthcare workers have NIV symptoms. So it's saying that the 12-year-old who has died of NIV virus, before dying, he had in contact with 188 people, and also 20 workers have been infected and are high risk, and 2 of them already have NIV symptoms. And if you look at yesterday's newspaper, it says that 11 of them have shown symptoms, and 251 were in contact with the victim. And what are the symptoms of this disease? So basically it is an asymptomatic disease. Several different diseases can occur as a result of the infection, which could be without any symptoms. Dr. Pavitra said that the symptoms of the fatal virus are similar to that of the viral fever. However, sometimes they present with unusual symptoms like headache and, in some worst cases, seizures, she shared. So it is saying that mostly it does not have any specific symptoms as if related to this disease, but it is a mixture of symptoms of different diseases. Like you can see symptoms of viral disease, that is having fever, and you can even experience headaches. The first signs of NIV could come in form of fever or headache for 3 to 14 days. There could be indications of respiratory disease such as toxicity, sore throat, trouble in breathing, says Dr. Aravinda. The first set of signs of NIV can also include myalgia, that is muscle pain, sore throat, vomiting, and disorientation. So that means you can experience fever, headache for 3 to 14 days of when you have caught the disease, and you can also witness some respiratory problems such as sore throat, trouble in breathing, and also you can experience vomiting, disorientation, and muscle pain. In some cases, Arvinda says acute respiratory syndrome or atypical pneumonia are also possible symptoms. So that means you can also experience that you have pneumonia or acute respiratory syndrome. After the initial stage, the severity level increases and encephalitis follows. NIV causes swelling in the brain and can lead to moderate and severe illness and perhaps even death. So it also affects your brain, so that means it can cause even death. There may be a phase of swelling in the brain when symptoms might include somnolence, disorientation, and mental confusion and progression to coma within 24 to 48 hours. So that means it can really attack your brain like very quickly, and that can even get you into coma. Infected individuals may experience sleeplessness, disorientation, mental confusion, altered consciousness, and conclusions. All these severe symptoms can lead to coma and death within 20 to 24 to 48 hours. So that means once it attacks your brain, there are possibilities that you die within 1 to 2 days. So you see, to me this disease looks more severe and more dangerous than the COVID-19. So let us look at the preventions of the disease. So they are similar to that of the COVID-19. The absence of a vaccine suggests awareness is the only key to curb the infection. Dr. Arvinda lists some precautions. So as we had witnessed that there hasn't been any vaccine developed till now for this specific disease. So the only thing that we can do right now is to take precautions. So the first and foremost is to wash hands with soap and water frequently. Avoid intake of raw date, palm, and palm sap. That means to avoid fruits such as palm, raw date, and do not consume fruit that have fallen from tree or show indications of being bitten by an animal. So here you need to pay a close attention when you eat any fruit, and you should search for symptoms and look for symptoms of uh, any teeth or teeth mark of any animal on it. Carefully wash, peel, cook fruits and vegetables before consuming. Avoid contact with NIV infected people. Avoid contact with pigs or bats. Avoid places where bats are known uh, or to or roost or could roost. So here it's saying that first and foremost is to be away from the people who have already caught NIV. Second is to constantly or after a periodically wash your hands and sanitize it. And the next is to make sure you do not eat any fruit that has marks of teeth or have been bitten by any animal. Next is to wash any fruit or vegetable that you are eating and which do not have any bitten marks on it. And also is to avoid going to places where you can see pigs and bats commonly. So that was it, and thank you.